Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. My name is Jane Shodel. I'm one of the festival programmers, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to tonight's North American premiere of Driven, directed by Nick Ham. To begin, we would like to acknowledge that tonight's event is taking place on the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of New Credit and the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and the Huron-Wendat. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work in the community. We are very pleased to present this film at the Visa Screening Room at the Princess of Wales Theatre, and we thank Visa Canada for making this possible. Thank you. This film is eligible for the Grosh People's Choice Award. You can vote for your favorite films at tiff.net/vote. And we would like to thank William Morris Endeavour Entertainment, United Talent Agency, and Embankment Films for providing us with this film. Thank you very much. And thank you to the British Council for their support also. Based on an outlandish true story, Driven captures the uneasy alliance of maverick car designer John Delorean and his less famous yet very colorful neighbor. Theirs is a story of too much money, too much drugs, and to maintain an automotive metaphor, the inevitable crash and burn. Those are the external story elements, at least. The core and the heart of the story is about a unique friendship between two very different men, the strong women who are aligned with them, and all of their individual ambitions. Nick Ham is a BAFTA award-winning director and producer whose work extends to feature films, television, and theater. His most recent film, The Journey, starring Timothy Spall, Colm Meaney, and John Hurt, played at TIFF in 2016, in addition to numerous prestigious film festivals around the world. This new work, Driven, boasts an equally star-studded cast, including Lee Pace, Jason Sudeikis, Judy Greer, Corey Stoll, and Isabel. We're very pleased to have an opportunity to speak with our guests after the film, but here to say a few words beforehand, directly from the Venice Film Festival, please welcome Nick Ham.
Thank you very much. It's always a wonderful privilege to come to TIFF, and my God, such a great theatre. Hello. I hope you enjoy the film. We so thoroughly enjoyed making it, and we are completely honored to show it to you tonight. I won't bore you with anything else, but I will be here afterwards to answer any questions that you may have about the movie. I appreciate your support and you coming, and thank you so much. And enjoy the picture.
My name is Robin Citizen. I'm a programming associate here at TIFF, and I am thrilled to facilitate this Q&A with our guests tonight. We have about 15 minutes for our conversation, but before we bring everybody out, just a few reminders. First of all, if you have a question, raise your hand high and maybe wave it around a bit just so I can see you. Second, when I call on you, please keep your question brief and speak as loudly and clearly as you can. And third, after you state your question, I will repeat it for the benefit of everybody on stage and in the audience. So without further ado, please help me welcome back to the stage, Director Nick Ham.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that. Would you like me to introduce the cast? Okay. I think Jason's back there somewhere. Jason, come on. Jason Sudeikis. Judy Greer. Isabella. And Lee Pace. And I think Erin's back there somewhere. Erin, yes, she is. There you go. Thank you so much. We're so pleased to be here. Is Corey here? I think Corey's at the other premiere tonight. He's a very busy actor, Corey.
He's in space.
So many movies. He's in space.
Okay, let's open it up for questions. First question. Yes, over there. Great question. So how much of John Delorean do you see in Elon Musk?
Yeah, I heard the question. Look, Delorean was the first CEO who branded himself along with his product. All right? So he told you, you can have the parties, you can have the girls, you can have the lifestyle, you can have everything and buy my car, and you can be me. And how many CEOs in the last, 30 years have done that? Branson, Gates, Jobs, Musk? Are we in the zeitgeist of the flashy CEO? I don't know. But I would like to think that John was a passionate, creative, powerful force, and I would like to believe that Musk is the same person. And I hope he is.
Yes, in the back. So this question is for Lee and the director. John Delorean is known as somewhat of an eccentric, but how much of that is your direction or from archival kind of records about who he was?
Well, John really put himself out there, and he enjoyed media, but I did so much work on watching him, and you hear so many different stories about who he was, from the people who knew him, from the way he presented himself, and the people who he did business with. And I feel like it gave me a lot of kind of freedom to, in this home in Palma Valley, to kind of take the mask off and have a good time with playing who he is with his family and with this man he's discovering a good friend in, But I think he is eccentric, and that's I think part of the magic about him,
Look. Isn't it extraordinary what he did? Let's start there, okay? I mean, Lee is 12 years old, all right? He walked onto that set the very first day with his wig and his gait and his clothes and his demeanor, and all of us just went, wow. This guy is it, and we felt a tingle up our spine, and I hope you did too.
Well, there was almost a chin there for a while too.
We had this terrible,
really hard trying to make a fake chin work.
Yeah, we employed these rather inept people to make a chin, and it didn't work, and then we abandoned it, and Lee became the part without the chin, which I think he did rather well.
Right here, down in front.
Thanks so much, because the next part is for the other actors who, if they're in witness protection, I'm assuming there wasn't much to go on to build that character from. So again, for the director and the actors, and the mustache, was that Jason?
All right.
Which I love.
Yeah, all right. Thank you for going on record.
So if that character is in witness protection, there's not much to go on about him. So how did you create that persona?
Acting.
Brilliant acting.
Yeah. So our job was harder than Lee's.
We
That's
had
what you're getting at.
nothing to copy.
Nothing. He
We
watched
had
video.
to-
He had
movies
audio,
and news clippings,
articles.
books,
We got shit.
documentaries.
Nothing. That is 100% imagination up there.
internet really
Just a
gave him
man and a woman, two
everything
human
he
beings
needed
using
to
the right
know,
side of their
and
brain
Jason
to
and
create
I
people out of
had
nothing.
Out of nothing, like a bubble.
You saw
like
the
an
photo. He didn't have
idea
a fucking
in our
mustache. That was
head.
our
We
idea.
just had to
We
make
did
it
that.
all up ourselves.
How are we going to top that? Okay. Next question.
Next question.
Yes, right there. So do you prefer working off of somebody that's based in real life, or do you prefer creating your own characters?
I for like 8 years played famous people quite a bit. I don't know how well, or anything, but I stayed there 8 years.
good.
That's all right.
You did
That's all right.
really
That
good.
wasn't for that purpose. But at SNL, but like we're usually just ripping straight from the headlines, or almost saying in many instances things that they actually said, more so now than ever, because that's funny and tragic enough. And it's like, but what Nick pulled out of us and asked of us, and what Colin Bateman's script did was and like what Lee just sort of mentioned, is this sort of shows the side of people that we don't get to see. And so I know for me, I find that much more enjoyable to sort of all the things that go into the choices that they make, and the decisions and the thinking behind them, those private moments. I think you get to see each character by themselves for a moment, and that's that doesn't make for a good skit. So I'm as lucky as I was to get to work at that joint for 8 years. I think this is fun. That's my take. He said it was for everyone. I didn't mean like.
I think there's look. I think the great thing about the DeLorean story is this: it's all lies, everything. All right, everything. No one knows the truth about anything. So when you're working on a picture or you're dramatizing something, and there is no absolute truth, which is the currency of our culture right now, you kind of can navigate those waters between fiction and truth and make something rather wonderful. And that's where dramatists and filmmakers and actors enjoy themselves most. If we had to report accuracy, we're documentarians. If we have to report fiction, we're dramatists, and that's where we are.
Next question? Yes. Oh, great question. Did you talk to any avid DeLorean collectors or some of those folks?
No. Never. No. I think that.
I'm wondering if you go on stage the DeLorean was being jumped out the front by a taxi.
What happened?
There was a DeLorean parked out the front that was getting a battery jump.
Need we say more?
You're asking if that's real. If we staged that, we brought the DeLorean.
Yeah, we did stage that. Yeah.
Not the battery part.
No, not the battery, but I promise you we didn't bring the battery, but we brought the DeLorean, and the fact that it's got jump-started is incredible. And
The only other way to do it is with lightning. So you got it.
Expert reference. Okay. Up in the balcony. Okay, is there a reason why the Back to the Future portion was not featured in the film?
I mean, it predates that.
yeah, I mean,
Right? Because the last scene's in 1984, and I believe that film came out in 1985. I mean, this would be the fucking room to find out if that's true or not. I thought that was going to be a resounding yes. Right? Yeah. So that would, I mean, that wouldn't be right. Wouldn't be right to do that.
he never knew really. He
That's not true. You've been saying that wrong all weekend, and I'm not going to let you say it in front of this nice group of people. He thought John Delorean died in like 86. I'm like, no, man, he died in 2006. So, yeah.
It's not good.
Next question. Yes.
She's getting to it. And you want to know if you're right? Absolutely. Yeah. Oh.
Did you have a question?
He just wants to know what you guys think of the DeLorean the car.
Oh.
What do you think of the DeLorean, the car?
Stunning. It's a beautiful car.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a bit style over substance, in my opinion, but you know. It's beautiful.
style
aesthetically.
over substance, she said.
Aesthetically,
I like
aesthetically
it.
pleasing.
But I've never driven one because I don't know that you can, apparently.
It's really low. It's really,
Yeah.
when you get out of it, I mean, I think you have to be on cocaine to get out of it. Low.
I actually had a question about the period detail. This is a period piece. It's from the Reagan era. And how did you go about recreating that moment? And are we supposed to draw an analogy from that moment to this one?
Yeah, I guess, look, there's a level at which DeLorean was the kind of expert at making himself the center of attention. And maybe we live in a kind of culture in which people do that, our politicians do that, to not great effect. And maybe we're sort of spinning a tale as kind of filmmakers and actors and artists that is very small in that arena, but I guess that's where we are. I mean, our culture around us now is one of, to a certain extent, how do you decipher the truth? How do you pinpoint what's morally accurate and what actually is information and what isn't? And what is interesting about looking at history is that you go back and you reanalyze history and you look at it from a point of view, and you're not subjective about it. And so I think that when people look at our history, maybe they'll look at it in the way that we looked at that history, which is, my God, really? They did that? They believed that? They fell for that? And I guess in a small way, that's what we were doing in the movie. There's a kind of an observation about the way people peddle falsehoods.
Thank you. I think we have time for one or two more questions. Yes, in the back, right there.
She said especially Judy. You heard it right. You heard it right.
I wanted to make sure it's on mic.
So this is a great cast, and how did everybody come to this project?
Literally no one else available, actually. Everyone was absolutely booked. Yeah, literally everyone's work. You said Judy was the best? Say that again. Judy was the best, right? Yeah. She loves that. She made us all do that every day. I'm the best. I mean, look, I adore working with them. They're a great bunch, and they managed to make truth real and comedy accurate, and they made our lives a pleasant an experience, and they told and wove a great tale. And what else can you ask of actors?
I don't know if we're going to have one more question, but I don't want to leave here without talking about Puerto Rico and how we shot this movie. About, I think, 3 weeks after Hurricane Maria hit, and Isabel is Puerto Rican and went back home to shoot her first movie there.
That's right.
Weeks after this hurricane hit, and it would be really hard to leave here without talking about that. And we're so thankful for our crew and for our opportunity to go back and finish this film that we started before the hurricane. And if nothing else, we're just so happy that it's here, and we're so proud that we did it. And I'll let you finish.
I'm just so grateful and honored that we decided to go back and finish this movie. And I really have no words. I mean, I'm emotionally bound to my home, and going back to Puerto Rico, not only the movie became part of the relief effort by raising money to those affected and employing over 200 people, giving them not only a paycheck, but a reason to show up, and provide them with a sense of normalcy. Please bear with me, I'm about to cry. But it also helped determine the trajectory of a very young and effervescent local film industry that otherwise would have shut down. So thank you, because we injected that money back into the local economy. We planted the seeds for the local film industry. Thank you, guys.
I just want to put this in context so that everyone kind of is clear about what happened. We started filming, and we filmed for 5 days. And then we were shut down. And we were all told to leave the island, because we shot it on Puerto Rico for many reasons: the architecture, the producers, the wonderful place it was, the crews. And we were all told to leave. All of us. We all had to evacuate because our insurance and all the European American crew were all told to go. And then Maria hit. And Maria was the size of Germany. So when we look at this stuff in climate change right now, that wasn't 10 miles apart. That wasn't a thunderstorm. That's half the size of Europe, that hurricane. And all of us took a decision when we went back to the island. Do we take away resources from the people who need it, or do we go back and provide an infrastructure and a way forward, if you like, for an industry that can pump money into the island itself? And we took that decision, and our local crew really wanted us to do that. And so for us, it was an act of faith, and it was an act of belief in what we thought we had a great movie. And it was also a belief in the fact that, you know what? This is real climate change. This is happening. You have to be under a stone or completely stupid to not even think that it's going on. And what we do now is we are, all of us, going to be dealing with it. And we, as a bunch of gypsies and actors and filmmakers, a tiny little example of how people dealt with that, and all of us are going to have to deal with that in the future. And this is a tiny example of how we came through. And God bless us all, because we're going to have to deal with it in the future. And we did it.
Thank you for bringing that context to this project, and thank you for bringing this smart and funny movie to TIFF.
We love TIFF. Thank you. We love it. Thank you, guys. Thank you.